Hello, Jim Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. I'm going to start out with a very short item. Not going to bother to put up a headline, but I just read an article just a moment ago. An Israeli scientist, a Nobel laureate Israeli scientist, said that he's been crunching the numbers. He's been in contact with people in China. His wife does a lot of work in China. Bottom line is that it looks like, at least according to him, that the rate of infection or the rate at which coronavirus is spreading is slowing. He thinks, and he could be right, he could be wrong, that we either have or will soon reach the peak or pass the peak, and then things should get better. That's number one. Second item, again, another short one. I'm not going to bother to put up a headline. I don't remember the name of the company, but a U.S. company has developed a vaccine, has given the first injection to about 45 patients. There will be 2 more injections, and the total process will be 12 to 18 months. Why so long? Because it's actually obvious when you think about it. You think today that people should be able to develop a vaccine and test it very quickly. You can develop the vaccine very quickly. The problem with getting the final conclusion from testing is that to see if a vaccine works, you have to wait a certain amount of time. In other words, they're going to give these injections, but then you got to wait a year to see if somebody catches the coronavirus. I imagine they would test these people by exposing them to the virus, but then you have to wait a certain amount of time to see whether the virus develops, to see whether the vaccine works. That is the main problem, but it looks like progress is being made. Now, on to the next item. This one I will put up a headline because while we've been talking about coronavirus, there have been other things that have been happening in the world. One of them, it's been on the back burner because it's been taking a while. It's been going on behind the scenes, but the Durham investigation about the Russian collusion hoax, how it originated, and investigating certain people involved. John Durham, the U.S. attorney working on that investigation. There is some news on that. Durham probe expected to end this summer, sources. U.S. Attorney John Durham is expected to wrap up his investigation into the origins of the Russia probe by the end of the summer, sources confirmed to Fox News. One source suggested the investigation could end as soon as July, while another said it could be closer to September based on Durham's progress, which could be hindered by the coronavirus pandemic rocking the nation and the globe. Durham, the U.S. Attorney for Connecticut, was appointed last year by Attorney General Bill Barr to review the events leading up to the 2016 presidential election and through President Trump's January 2017 inauguration. But as Fox News first reported, Durham has since expanded his investigation to cover a post-election timeline spanning the spring of 2017 when Robert Mueller was appointed as special counsel. Last month, Representative Doug Collins, who served as the top Republican on the House Judiciary Committee but left the role after announcing a Senate campaign, told Fox News that Durham's probe will likely lead to criminal charges. Quote, "This is not going to be a Mueller report. There won't be a report," unquote, Collins told Fox News, noting that Durham and his team have kept very, quote, quiet, unquote, about their work. So we don't really know what Durham has been doing, what he has. It looks like we'll be finding out within the next few months or so. We don't know if there will be criminal charges. Collins is predicting that there will be. We'll have to wait and see. stay tuned, because the Durham investigation, to its credit, unlike the Mueller investigation, has not been plagued by leaks from inside the investigation. Durham is doing his job very well from all indications, precisely because we have not had these leaks. That's one reason. Another reason could be because he does have something, now that I think of it, and if he does have something, it's not going to be good for the quote-unquote deep state and possibly some members of the former Obama administration, and possibly for employees of the FBI, the CIA, specifically to mention John Brennan and James Clapper. I'm looking forward, and it may turn out to be nothing, so don't get all excited. It may turn out to be nothing, but you can be sure that if there is an into the Durham investigation, I'm hoping there's not, but if there is, if there were bad news for Trump in that investigation, you could be sure it would be all over the press. So either way, it's positive if you're a Trump supporter and if you really want people to be held accountable for the Russian collusion hoax. Either Durham is playing cards close to his vest and he is keeping the investigation tightly sealed from outsiders, or the press does have an in to the investigation, is learning things in the investigation and is not reporting them, unlike from the Mueller investigation, because it's good news for Trump. So I see positive developments from this investigation. The worst that could happen is that Durham won't find anything, but I just can't imagine that he would have been going on this long if there was nothing there. I don't think it's a Mueller fishing expedition where they kept it going month after month after month hoping to find something. I think if there had been nothing there, that Durham would have stopped or concluded his investigation a long time ago. Now we go on to the main subject for today, which is the debate that was just yesterday, the day before I'm recording this, the one-on-one debate between Biden and Sanders. I'm not going to go into what was said in the debate. You can all render your own judgment. What I do want to talk about is the reaction of Bernie Sanders' supporters, because Biden, who was almost certainly going to be, in fact, you could almost say certainly will be the Democratic nominee. If he is to defeat Trump in November, he's going to need the Bernie Sanders supporters. And you heard, if you watched that debate, Bernie Sanders say that Donald Trump is, well, racist, homophobe, just go right down the list, but the greatest threat to this country since, well, maybe worse than coronavirus. And he pledged that if Biden is a nominee, he would not just support Biden, but campaign for him, and by extension, urge his supporters to vote for Biden. This leads to a big question that I wish the moderators of that debate had asked, because to me it's an obvious question. I wish they had asked it, and I will get to that question in a minute, keep you in suspense for a few minutes. But I want to share the reaction of Bernie Sanders' supporters, or a small sample, because again, Biden is going to need their vote to win. And in 2016, when Bernie did not get the nomination, a lot of his supporters stayed home, and some of them even voted for Donald Trump in protest. So we need to know the reaction this time around and how it will affect November. Will Sanders' voters be there for Biden if Biden is the nominee? I mentioned in an earlier vlog that there is a movement, just as there was and is. There are a few stragglers left, never Trump movement, but there is also a never Biden movement. There is a hashtag on Twitter, never Biden. So during the debate, not after the debate, but during the debate, I went on Twitter, I searched on the hashtag never Biden, and I read some of the tweets to see what they were saying while the debate was on. Tweet number 1 from Indie Girl VT, I assume that's Indie Girl Vermont, presumably a tweeter from Sanders' own state of Vermont. Honestly, this debate is turning me into a never Biden person, and I was on the fence before because of the courts, meaning the federal courts and the Supreme Court, fear of Trump getting reelected and appointing conservative judges and justices on the Supreme Court. Number 2, single payer or bust tweets. Bernie will support and campaign for Biden if he's the nominee. That doesn't mean we will follow. We won't. I don't vote for conservative liars with dementia. So to give you a sense of how left Bernie's supporters are, to this tweeter at least, Joe Biden is a conservative. Go figure. Number 3, Adam, rude peasant. I like Detroit. Well, shout out to Adam because I'm originally from Detroit. That's my hometown where I was born. I was sorry for Joe. Now he pissed me off. Joe Biden is a blanking liar, period. I will never vote for this guy. And finally, Serena Vasquez. I love Bernie, but this Latina will never vote for Joe, never Biden. That's the reaction of at least some of Bernie Sanders' supporters while they were watching the debate. We'll have to see what the ultimate number turns out to be, but there are some supporters of Bernie Sanders who are not going to vote for Joe Biden. We'll see how it affects the election, but I think Joe Biden has a real problem. And this leads to the main point I want to make, what I was talking about before, the big question that I wish somebody had asked Bernie Sanders during the debate, because it's an obvious question. It's something that these tweeters picked up on. If I had been a moderator of that debate, I would have asked, Senator Sanders, you have been on this stage, you have been campaigning, you have been advocating, pushing a number of policy proposals, Medicare for all, $15 an hour minimum wage, take on the insurance industry, take on the pharmaceutical companies, take on the billionaires, not millionaires anymore. I guess now that's okay because Bernie has been revealed as a millionaire, so I guess now he only talks about billionaires. But billionaires and Wall Street. Here's my question. You just said that if Biden is the nominee, you will support Joe Biden. Presumably, you will urge or you want your supporters to vote for Joe Biden. So at the end of the day, aren't you really saying that your principles, your proposals, they don't mean anything? Your voters should vote for Joe Biden because you have no choice, because the alternative is Donald Trump. So why are you wasting the country's time? Why are you advocating these positions? Why aren't you just saying what you obviously mean when you say you will support Joe Biden, which is simply you have no choice. You have to vote for Joe Biden, and it doesn't matter what he proposes. He could be lying through his teeth about what he's going to do. Doesn't matter. You have no choice. You have to vote for him. And if that is your position, which it would seem it obviously is, then Why should the Democratic Party ever listen to you or your supporters or consider your policy proposals since you're going to vote for them anyway? What is the point if you and your supporters are not willing to sit out an election to demonstrate your power? Why should they listen to you? Actually, that's two questions. It's a two-part question, but you get the idea. And that's it for today. Thanks as always for stopping by. Thumbs up if you like this video. Share it with anybody you think would also like the video. Got any questions? You can put them in the comments section below, which obviously is also for comments. You can also suggest future topics. I would love all of you to subscribe. Those of you who have not subscribed yet, subscribe. And finally come back and see me again. I look forward to seeing all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.